in summary, for those of you who haven't come across the China-Britain Business Council before, our role is very simple, and that is to help any British organisation, A, see if there's an opportunity for them in China, and B, if there is, to then help them realise that. And we've been doing that for over 60 years in one form or other now. That's why I'm obviously working very closely with Annie and the rest of the team, is to try and get the China message across to businesses in and around this region. We have a network of 15 offices across China itself, and 10 offices in this country too, so we have a fairly good footprint. But as I say, our main role is to help British companies sell more to China, but also increasingly help British companies engage with potential investors from China as well. That's becoming an increasingly important part of the work that we do. I thought I'd start a little bit by saying about the state of the trade relationship between the UK and China, just as an overall setting the scene. And I think probably one of the most important things to say, which is sort of a global thing rather than the UK-China thing, is the fact that with the new incumbent in the White House, China has been presented with an incredible opportunity to take an even stronger lead in world affairs. So you can see an increasing presence and increasing involvement on the world stage by China, especially in their newfound role as champion of globalisation. And it's an opportunity that the Chinese are relishing. So you can see, we can look forward to seeing significantly more involvement by the Chinese government engagement with foreign jurisdictions as well, which hopefully will be to the benefit of the UK, not least in what happens with Brexit. There's been a lot of talk recently about the supposed slowing down of China's economy. Some of you will have heard me say this already, but there is no doubt that the economy is moving into a new stage. But we have to remember in all of this that the GDP growth is still well over 6%, and is forecast to be over 6% for the foreseeable future, which is growth year on year. So it's sort of a phenomenal achievement. And that growth is often much higher in the smaller regional cities. When I say smaller, they're still several million strong. So there is still that huge opportunity that we see there. As for the relationship between the UK and China, we have a very active and engaged ambassador from China over here at the moment. I thought I'd say a few things, pick out a few things that he said at the recent all-party parliamentary China group Chinese New Year reception a couple of weeks ago. And he made great play of saying how strong that relationship between the UK and China is. There was a bit of a hiccup when there was a change of administration and Theresa May took over. But the ambassador was at great pains to stress that he still sees this as being the golden era between the UK and China, and that the Chinese government, are looking to increase substantially that engagement between the two countries, not least in the context of Brexit as well. And he made specific reference to the need for the Chinese and UK governments to step up activities for negotiating a free trade deal, which I know we're not supposed to be doing, but I'm sure we are. And he also stressed, which goes back to what you were saying about the need to engage more strongly on the science and technology agenda and on the education agenda as well. And he then finished by saying that the Chinese wanted to work with the UK to champion globalisation and free trade, which is quite an unusual thing to be hearing from a senior Chinese official. But all in all, the messages that we're getting from the Chinese government are incredibly warm in wanting to do more with the UK. And in some cases, surprisingly so as well. So from the formal government-to-government perspective, it is looking very, very positive. And a lot of that trade we see is being driven by the increased level of consumerism in China. And I'm reliably informed that the middle-class consumer in China now amounts to over 109 million. That's compared to 92 million in the States. and household income forecast to increase from 1 trillion in 2012 to 2.7 trillion pounds in 10 years' time. So, sorry, in 2022, so 10 years from 2012. So there is an increased amount of disposable income available, which hopefully will be bought, which will be spent on British products and services. On the food and drink front, there is increased desire to buy high-quality British products. There is a desire by the Chinese consumer to buy British. They recognise the quality that the British brand can provide. And we have a significant group of younger Chinese coming through. There are 1/3 billion Chinese aged 15 to 29, who most economists regard as the single most important consumer group in the world. They're tech savvy, they know what they want, they've never really known any hardship, they're opinionated. Many of them have had the opportunity to... Sounds great, doesn't it? So, I mean, in the food and drink sector, there is significant opportunity, and one that we'll see increasing demand for, and it's across the board, whether it's fine beer, like we have here, gin, whiskey, high-quality chocolates, and Mr. Booja Booja isn't here today. But
no, send some chocolates, they're in your goodie bag.
Excellent, fantastic, I look forward to that. But also increasingly on dairy products as well, which is quite interesting in the context of China, where there is a widespread lactose intolerance, but there is a growing demand for high-quality cheeses and yogurts and other dairy products. Chinese are also hold great store by food safety and quality, not least because of the various food scares they've had over recent years. Tainted infant milk formula, poisoned watermelons as well was something that happened last year. So there is a growing desire to increase traceability, and the UK is regarded as being a safe haven or a safe place to source product from. And there's a huge amount of work being done by the authorities in this country, which many of you will know, to increase the amount of good quality products that we sell over there, with a significant lead being taken on meat products and high quality seafood products. There are significant issues in market access on the meat front, and we've had some success on the pork side, but that was a long hard slog, and we're seeing similar long hard slogs on beef, lamb and poultry. Having said that, last year was an excellent year for exports of pig meat to China. Volumes rose 31%, and offal shipments as well, apparently, rising by 32%. So I think, yes, last year was probably a special year in the sense that quality of production is actually improving in China at the moment, but also that we're seeing increased influence of rising US exports into China too. We'll still have a significant amount of product going over there, but probably not as good as it was in 2016. So the agriculture thing, there's very strong links being developed between the UK and China, and I think it's important to highlight the work that's done by the Secretariat at UEA for the China-UK Sustainable Agriculture Innovation Network, which has been in place for a very long time. But it's good to see that UK, and particularly this region, is playing a leading role on Chinese-UK collaboration in sustainable agriculture. And it's certainly worth going and having a visit to them and listening to them. They have some fascinating things to say.